In the summer of 356 BC, in the city of Pella, Macedonia, a child was born who would go on to change the course of history. His name was Alexander. From his earliest years, it was clear that he was destined for greatness. His father was King Philip II, a brilliant strategist and warrior, and his mother, Olympias, filled his mind with stories that he was a descendant of Achilles, the legendary hero of the Trojan War. This belief shaped his confidence and ambition. As a boy, Alexander showed unusual courage. At the age of 12, he tamed a wild horse that no one else could control. This horse, Bucephalus, became his lifelong companion in battle and a symbol of his fearless spirit. His father recognized his intelligence and appointed the philosopher Aristotle as his tutor. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander studied philosophy, science, politics, and medicine. This rare combination of education and bravery turned him into not just a warrior, but also a thinker. When Alexander was only 20, tragedy struck. His father was assassinated, and the young prince suddenly became king. Many doubted him, but Alexander quickly proved his strength. He crushed rebellions, united the Greek city-states, and turned his eyes eastward. His father's dream had been to conquer the mighty Persian Empire, and now Alexander was determined to make it a reality. In 334 BC, Alexander set out with an army of 40,000 men to face Persia. His first test came at the Granicus River, where he led his men to victory despite being outnumbered. A year later, at the Battle of Issus, he faced King Darius III himself. The Persian army was vast, but Alexander's tactics outsmarted them. Darius fled the battlefield, leaving behind his family. Alexander, instead of harming them, treated them with great respect. Even his enemies began to admire his sense of honor. By 332 BC, Alexander reached Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him as a liberator, freeing them from Persian control. There he founded the great city of Alexandria, which would later become a center of knowledge and culture for centuries. Egyptian priests declared him the son of the god Ammonius, raising him to divine status in their eyes. In 331 BC, Alexander and Darius met again at the Battle of Gaugamela. This time, Darius brought together one of the largest armies ever assembled. But Alexander's genius and courage on the battlefield led to a stunning victory. The Persian Empire collapsed, and Alexander became the ruler of lands stretching from Greece to Babylon, Persia, and beyond. But Alexander's ambition was not just to conquer. He dreamed of uniting East and West. He adopted Persian customs, married the princess Roxana, and encouraged his men to marry women from the lands they conquered. He wanted to create one world, one empire, where cultures blended and people lived as one. In 326 BC, Alexander marched into India. There, he faced King Porus at the Battle of Hydaspes. The battle was fierce, fought in heavy rain, with war elephants terrifying the Macedonian soldiers. But Alexander triumphed once again. Impressed by Porus's bravery, Alexander did not punish him. Instead, he restored him as king and even gave him more territory. It was a sign of Alexander's respect for courage and leadership. Yet, after years of endless battles, his soldiers grew tired. When Alexander wanted to march further into India, his men refused. With no choice, he turned back, though his dream of reaching the ends of the world remained unfulfilled. In 323 BC, at only 32 years of age, Alexander returned to Babylon. He planned new campaigns, dreaming of conquering Arabia and perhaps even further lands. But suddenly, he fell gravely ill. After days of suffering, he died, leaving behind the greatest empire the ancient world had ever seen. His final words, according to legend, were to the strongest. Without a clear heir, his empire was divided among his generals, and within years it began to crumble. Though his empire did not last, Alexander's influence lived on. Greek culture, language, and knowledge blended with Eastern traditions, creating the Hellenistic Age, a period that shaped science, philosophy, art, and trade for centuries. Alexander the Great is remembered not only as a conqueror, but as a visionary. In just 12 years, he built an empire that stretched across 3 continents. He lived with courage, thought like a philosopher, fought like a warrior, and dreamed of uniting the world. His story is one of brilliance, ambition, and tragedy, a story that will be told for as long as history is remembered.